Hi friends, I'm Felicia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm joined by Storm. Should I just leave it like this so you can see Storm? Look at how creepy she is. Okay, anyways, so today you're going to be doing my January wrap-up. Belatedly, today's February 19th. It's Louis Riel Day here in Manitoba. And I'm very much enjoying my day off, and so I decided I would film some videos for you guys today. So we're going to get started. Okay, so the first book that I finished in January, my first read of 2018, was Miss Marvel Volume 7, yep, which is called Damage Per Second. And the writer of that series is G. Willow Wilson, and I did not write down who the artists are. I think it's different artists every volume. So this is, as I said, Volume 7 in this series. I've really been enjoying this Miss Marvel series. I really enjoy it. This book I did enjoy more than the I was gonna say more than the previous one, but now I can't remember how much I enjoyed the previous one. But I did really enjoy this one. I thought it was a good addition to the series, and that's all I have to say about that one. Then the next book that I read, the only physical book I have to show you, is Winter Brides. And this is a compilation of 3 novellas by Denise Hunter, Deborah Rainey, and Betsy St. Amant. And this is funny because I actually listened to this on audio, but I had this book. I went through my mom's bookshelves a few months back and kind of organized them because it's what I like to do. And she had 2 copies of this book. I introduced her to Book Outlet, and that has become a problem for her. I come by it honestly. And so she has duplicate books, and so I took this one because she had 2. Yeah, this is just a collection of 3 short romance stories. So taking place in December, January, and February. I thought this was like a cute compilation. These stories weren't amazing, but they felt very much just like a cheesy chick flick. So I did really like them. So I can't remember which one is which, so I'm just gonna read the back. A December Bride. The main character, Layla, she's I can't remember what she does, but she wants to become like a stager or an interior designer, and she has this opportunity to stage a home for this big Christmas home tour. And so the guy that's been secretly in love with her, or not so secretly in love with her, that she not so secretly hates, volunteers his house, and so they have to be together to stage his house. They're working together, so you can imagine where things lead from there. I do enjoy a good hate to love trope, but I don't know if this one was good. It was one-sided, and it was based on the fact that the main character wouldn't talk to. She had a conception of this guy, and she wouldn't talk to him about it, which is annoying. But I did like the story. It was cute. The second one, the middle one, was my favorite, I think. That was The January Bride. And our main character, Madeline, she's a writer, and she's just moved to a new town, and she's having a hard time settling in. Her house is having renovations, and she needs somewhere quiet to write. And her friend suggests that she go write at this bed and breakfast in town. The main character's friend is friends with the guy that owns it, so she goes there to write, and they start it ends up that this guy is not home during the day, which is when she's there, and they end up just writing notes back and forth and never actually meeting each other face to face, and that's just super cute because they're like writing letters and stuff. And I just thought that one was really funny, and I really like that one. And then February Bride. Oh yeah, that one was I had to read the back to remember, but like I remember now. The main character, she has a failed engagement. She ran away. Did she run away from her wedding, or she canceled her wedding shortly before it happened? And there's just kind of like this curse on her family. All the women in her family wear the same wedding dress, but their marriages never last. And so that was kind of why she canceled the wedding, because she had like this crazy panic about it, I guess, and like she really felt like she was cursed. Her ex-fiance's sister is her best friend, and through circumstances she's thrown back together with her ex-fiance, and you can guess where things go from there. But yeah, if you enjoy cheesy, cute, contemporary, easy reads, like, I would recommend this. I liked it. It wasn't amazing, but I liked it. You see my TBR shelf behind me? Like, this is ridiculous. This stack of, just fun fact, this stack of books goes up till here. You can't even see it. And those are all the books that I'd like to read soon. You see this one? You see this? Count of Monte Cristo? The next book that I read also was an audiobook listen, and that was The Bestiest by Lisa Turkhurst. And I totally forgot to write down who the narrator was. I'll leave it down below, as well as for the previous book. And this is a very specific audience of Christian nonfiction, and this book is very specifically targeted to women, Christian women over the age of 30 who are working, running a home, being a mom, and in ministry. And any combination of those. And I am almost 30, and I'm working, and I'm in ministry, so it did apply to me. And it was basically about, like, we have all these commitments, and as Christian women we feel like there are things that we always have to say yes to, because it's the godly thing to do, is to just always say yes and help people. But that isn't always the case, and sometimes we don't have the emotional or physical or time resources to do these things, and so that's not always, saying yes isn't always the best yes, and sometimes saying no is our best yes, because it leaves us open to say yes to God. And so she just spoke a lot about her experiences in that, and like different encouragements in how you can figure out what your best yes is and how to say no and things like that. And I found that really applicable to me, because I don't know how to say no ever. And it's still something that I'm trying to work out, but having that in my mind is helpful. So I would, like, this is a very niche book. Like, I would really only recommend it for, you know, Christian women, 30 and above, ministry, and like all of that stuff. Next thing that I read the 2 short stories from the Across the Universe series. I reread that series like a year ago, and there were 2 short stories available online that I wanted to read, and I didn't get around to it until January, like a year later after I finished it, which is kind of sad. So those are called Love is a Choice and As They Slip Away. Those are both by Beth Revis. Love is a Choice is a short story that is from the perspective of Orion, kind of his origin story. And then As They Slip Away is, when does that take place? It would take place also previous to the events in the first book, and that, oh, who's that following? It's following one of the side characters from the mental hospital. But yeah, they're both fast reads. I read them both in a morning at work when I didn't have anything else to do. Yeah, they were good. I don't know if they added much to the story, but they gave some more insight into, especially the one about Orion. I think that might be worth reading. It just explains some things about his character. The other one, I don't know. It does also kind of set up events, or it explains more about especially one of the villains in the first book. But yeah, if you like the series, I would recommend them, I guess. Then I had a good catch-up on Sophie Kinsella books. I read 2 of them in January. The first one that I read was My Not So Perfect Life by Sophie Kinsella, and that was her standalone that came out last year. And it's about this woman, oh, what's her name? Katie. Her name is Katie. I remembered. I was getting it mixed up with the other one. Yeah, Katie, and she comes from the country in England, and her dream her whole life has been to live in London. So after she graduates from college, she gets to do that, and so she's working in London for this terrible woman that just has no care for anyone else, and she's just very pretentious and hoity-toity and whatever. Yeah, so Katie's working at this job in marketing, which she's very passionate about, and she tries to make her life, she's kind of marketing her own life to her dad and to her friends, because her life isn't as perfect as she thought it would be when she got to live in London, but she's trying to make them think that everything is perfect, even though she, you know, has a really crappy apartment and has an hour commute to work and stuff like that. I don't know how much I want to say. I feel like the synopsis on Goodreads and the back of the book is kind of a spoiler, because it's events that happen very far into the book. Woo! Storm is just sniffing around my tea. I don't want her to get it. She's being very annoying today. Like, cute, but very annoying just in my face and in everything that I'm doing. Anyways, so I don't want to give away too much about the plot. But there's Katie's dad owns a farm, and he's very much, he's an entrepreneur, and he has had one of those guys that just starts a business every 6 months or something. And so his latest venture is that he's going to start a glamping resort. And so part of the story takes place at this glamping resort, and it is so funny. I really enjoyed this book. For me, I feel like a couple of Sophie Kinsel's last books weren't as good as I usually find them, but then this one was just totally a return to just that hilarity and that sweetness, and the character growth in this one was really good, especially in Katie and then another one of the characters. I'm not sure how much I said in my Goodreads review, but you can read that if you're interested, I guess. I go into it more there. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this. It was so good. And I listened to it on audio, and I would really recommend that too, because part of the story is that Katie comes from the country where they have like more of a rural accent, not as posh as London accent, and so the narrator does that accent for especially like Katie's dad and her stepmom. And yeah, I just found that's kind of key to the story too, and so I find that it was very funny. And like this book, you know, you always think about Sophie Kinsella with romance, but this book has more to do with friendship and other relationships, more than it had to do with romance. So I really like that. And if you like Sophie Kinsella, I definitely recommend this one. And then the next book that I read was her newest release. I got an arc of it from Neck Alley and actually read it before the release date. Like, go me. And this one was Surprise Me by Sophie Kinsella. I said that, Sophie Kinsella. I'm still talking about her. And this one is about Sylvie and her husband. They've been together for 10 years, and they just know each other inside and out, like, so perfectly. They finish each other's sentences, and they don't even need to say things because they're just so in sync. They just know what everyone's thinking about. But then they, through some events, they decide they need to spice up their marriage, which, as you can imagine, Sophie Kinsella fashion, they just go terribly. And then secrets start getting brought to the surface, and yeah, there's some conflict and whatever. The magnitude of these secrets, they are forced to come to a point where, are they going to push through, or are they going to let that divide them? And I didn't enjoy this one quite as much as the previous one that I read, My Not So Perfect Life, but in the end, I really thought it was good. I appreciated this because this was about a couple that's a few years older than me and in the same stage of life, like married. They have 2 young kids. I don't have kids, but like I enjoy reading about actually married couples. I don't read very many books like that where the romance is a married couple already. Yeah, so I liked that. This is about a couple trying to spice up their marriage. So there are some very awkward, sexy things that happen. as only Sophie Kinsella can write. So I just would put that out as a warning if you're not comfortable with that kind of stuff. Like, it's fade to black stuff, but it's still, some of it is extremely awkward. Oh my word, there's one really awkward situation. I was like, I don't know if I can read this. This is so awkward. And then there were some tropes that were very frustrating to me at the beginning, but at the end of the book, I can forgive them because of where they went and what that was saying about the character growth and just the situation between the characters. Like, it makes sense. And so I forgave them. But the first half of the book, I was so frustrated. I was like, really, are we really doing these stupid tropes that I hate so much? The not communicating, and yeah, it was really the not communicating between the couple. It was just so frustrating. But towards the end of the book, it just got really good. Again, I would recommend this if you're a fan of Sophie Kinsella. I thought that, like, the ending is so worth it for any frustration that you feel at the beginning. But yeah, so those are the books that I read in January. Yeah, it was a very enjoyable reading month. I did like all of the things that I read. I'm also gonna go through my haul. I am very much trying not to buy books this year. So far, I'm doing okay. And I need to find my list of books that I actually just bought in January, so I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm going to go through the books that I purchased in January. I only got 5, so that's pretty good. And most of them are free. So the first book that I got is Taking Charge of Your Fertility by Toni Weschler. I got that on Amazon for $3, $4, which is very cheap because it's usually $20 on Kindle. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a nonfiction book, kind of like a textbook on how to take charge of your fertility, and I want to read it. And I have started reading it, and it's very good. I just haven't been focusing more on my fiction reads, because book club and stuff. So I have not read more in it, but it's very good. Oh, I have books that I can show. I'm gonna get them. The next book that I got, this was purchased with a Christmas gift card, so I didn't pay for it, and that was Everyday Watercolor by Jenna Rainey. I have been following Jenna Rainey on Instagram for probably a few years already. Her username is Monvoirco, Monvoirco, and she just does amazing watercolors. And so this book is 30 or 31 days, and it teaches you how to do watercolors, and I love watercolors. I've started playing with them in the past few years, but like mostly just like abstract color washes and stuff in my journal. But I actually want to learn how to actually paint watercolors, and so I decided to get this, and I'm very excited to work through it. It's just beautiful. Beautiful stuff that she does, so can't wait. And then, yeah, the other book that I got, this was kind of sneaky for me and Chris, and that's Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. 10 Ways to Share Your Creativity and Get Discovered, and it's just like a little handbook for creatives, and Chris has already read it and he really liked it, and so I will hopefully be reading this soon. I haven't read it yet, but hopefully soon. Like, it's really short. I could read it in an evening. And then the watercolor book, I feel like I'm gonna go through that in summertime, because I really find myself drawn to watercolors in summer, so that's probably when I'm gonna go through it. The other 2 books that I got on Audible with credits, free credits, so I didn't pay for them. The first one was The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. Yeah, that was, actually I paid for that one. That was like special for $3.95, and that was shortly after she passed away, and so I'm excited to listen to that one. I do have a physical copy on my shelf, but I thought that would be a good way to read it. I've been very audiobooking my books lately. And then the other one that I got was Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, and that one was that one free? Yeah, that one was free. Can't remember. I think it might have been a credit. Anyways, and that's like that's one of the Audible exclusives, and it has a full cast, and Emma Thompson is like the main narrator, so I had to do it. That's my second favorite Jane Austen, in case you were wondering. So I will maybe be reading that again this year as an audiobook. But yeah, so those are all the things that I read and all the things that I acquired in January. If you've read any of these books, I would love to know your thoughts on them. And yeah, just let me know your thoughts. I don't know why I always feel like I need to say more there, but I don't really have anything else to say. Just let me know your thoughts. I want to chat with you in the comments. But yeah, so that's all for today. So thanks very much for watching, and until next time, so long, and thanks for all the fish. What the heck was that? I don't know.